You've had two of these meetings. What has, what's the end result of this?
Well, I don't know what the end result is. We've got to, Mike and I, Representative Sanders and I, got to get together and determine what we just heard. The sense that I get is, especially from Chairman Devon, is that somehow they're under attack and that restructuring is not in light what they want to do. And if they do it, they don't want to work through us. They want to go through Chris Steele's task force. I smell political appeasement here. There are a lot of special interests involved. My history of trying to restructure this agency was dealt with by basically throwing me under the bus. They did the audit to basically appear that they were doing something. They have not. They claim that they made changes pursuant to those recommendations. They've only partially done that, and that's the fact. But it's this legislature's responsibility to change this agency. Now, it's either going to do it or not do it. It's either going to do it really or they're going to do it superficially. I hope it's not the second alternative.
Your response to Commissioner Devon's concern that splitting the DHS into three components just increases bureaucracy.
It just tells me that he really doesn't know his own agency very well. He hasn't done the study, he hasn't done the work, in my opinion, necessary to understand this well, the chart's gone, the mishmash of overlapping responsibilities. If he really wanted to have efficiencies of scale, just like a business in the modern era, you become mean and lean to your responsibilities. This agency is an overblown Godzilla that has incrementally grown over the years and is finally being asked some very tough questions to change its direction.
The argument was made, I believe, by Commissioner Peck. He said at least a couple times, we're not going to micromanage. You can't expect us to know, what the division director or someone like that is doing. What is or should be the role of the commission? You call it the board of directors, but does the board of directors of Coke know what the bottling plant is
and you know this, that's true. The directors of Coke and Pepsi don't know what they should know, and that's why a lot of these major corporations are in trouble, by the way. They need to have a level of understanding and knowledge and time commitment that lets them know from top to bottom what this agency is responsible for. If they cannot do it, Commissioner Yarborough kept complaining about time and things and his family and whatever. If you can't do the job, then don't get on the commission. It's that simple. And if they don't like the pay, don't get on the commission. If you don't like the responsibilities, don't get on the commission. If it's too much for you, then resign. And let people that are truly interested serve as members of the commission, regardless of political affiliation, which would be interesting, and do the job that's necessary to protect the stakeholders, the people that are being served. 1 in 3 Oklahomans, by the way, is being touched by DHS. That's 1 million people.
One of the problems that a lot of people see is that there's 9 members on the commission. Governor only gets to appoint 1 at a time. So
here's what's coming.
Governor Fallon would have to get to a second term before she even appoints half of the commission.
Guess what's coming? And let me be Nostradamus here.
Okay.
Legislative Nostradamus. A bill will be introduced this year and passed, and I believe signed into law, that will give her the ability to hire and fire commissioners at will, just like they did with the Board of Education. That one's coming, and I predict it'll be done by the end of the next legislative session.
And in light of what's going on at DHS, is that, generally speaking, a good idea?
No, that's a bad idea. Then what you get is a bunch of political cronies, yes people, that will either you toe the line to the way they think, or you're gone. And that's basically the Russian parliament. You can be pretend to be part of this deal, but if you don't agree with us at the top, you're out. That's not a review, and that's not an independent commission to me. That's a political stacked crony commission, which is where this is going.
You attended a meeting today of the commission.
Yes.
Was that the first time?
Yes, it was. And he said it was the first time any legislators have ever been to a DHS commission.
Actually, Representative Nelson was at last month's meeting. But
that's
okay.
I didn't know that. All right. Well, he wins the award.
So, what did you learn anything from that?
I thought it was a very, very eye-opening. I thought, well, for example, and I didn't get into this because I didn't really want to embarrass them. Well, I was there, and I was there till noon, so I was there for 2.5 hours. These child deaths were never brought up.
I can tell you they were never brought up after noon either.
I think that, how could that's unbelievable. The one area that should be talked about, at least that we've been raising issue about, is the child deaths. And they didn't get into that. They talked about bonds, property management, steamroll some budget recommendations, took a break. We heard from Director Hendrick on some other matters that basically were not too, well, the subject matter was kind of bland. But never did they discuss the child deaths, which to me is preposterous.
And just like, you're having these meetings with commissioners, do you think that, would you encourage lawmakers to attend a lot of these meetings? And do you attend to maybe go to a State Board of Education meeting or Health Commission or something like that?
Well, I certainly hope I could make one of those meetings. I've got my interest in a lot of areas, whether it's Red Cedar, DHS. I hope to. I would like to. I'm a little disappointed that my colleagues, there weren't more of them here. There were more this time than on last Thursday. Making progress. I was certainly hoping there would be more. I would certainly hope that next time our room assignment will be a little more accommodating to the public.
Will there be a next time? I thought I heard you say
I don't
there won't be
know.
another
At this point, we haven't planned any new ones. I think we need to find out what we learned in the last two meetings before we go venturing off into another meeting. I do wish, though, we had more legislative participation. We can talk about the commissioners all that we want, but we have a duty to show our interest, and I don't think there's been sufficient legislative interest up to now.
I wrote a blog post on Friday following your initial meeting saying that it's probably a good idea to have these unelected board and commissions go in front of committees during the legislative session to have this kind of dialogue back and forth.
Yes.
Would you support something like that?
Absolutely. I've been saying it since the day I got here back in '04 that one of the most crucial things we can do is open up discussions with the bureaucracy, state agencies, in an informal way, not while we're in session, so we have more time to have this kind of discourse. Many people think that if I'm disagreement, for example, with Commissioner Devon, that somehow we're having an argument. That's okay, because we are exchanging different ideas and views about an objective. Now, how are we going to solve the problem if we don't have all points of view verbalized? Now, during session, you know this, you've been here a while, committee meetings are time limited. The public hardly ever gets to speak. We rush through things during the 90-day session. The time to do the investigative studies, real work, is in the off session, when we're not here officially. So we've been here, what now? Since 1:30, over 3 hours, 3.5 hours almost. We get a lot done today, I hope. Some of the commissioners felt a little uncomfortable. Maybe they've learned something. I heard some things that made me feel uncomfortable. Maybe I've learned something. For what end? To make sure this agency serves people of Oklahoma in the way they're designed to. That these complaints that we're hearing will become less and less.
And finally, I'll ask a question that Representative Sanders asked the at least two members who were left. What do you see as the future? Are you as optimistic as Commissioner Dow that, if we talk a year from now, will there be significant changes to that organization?
No, and I'm going to go back. No, I'm not that hopeful. I think that's, what do you say when you're in a tough spot in a public meeting? What I think is going to happen is when the heat fades, and I hope it will, because we don't want any more child deaths. They didn't really address here either. Did you notice?
Right.
They didn't address that either. No, I don't think there will be that. Because what I saw this morning in the commission meeting was too cozy a relationship between employees and staff at DHS and the commission. I didn't see, other than Commissioner Dow over there asking some tough questions, I didn't see a whole lot of inquiry from anybody but Commissioner Dow. I thought that was very, very disappointing.
What did you think of Commissioner Peck, who's been there since '98, saying that he feels intimidated to talk and show his ignorance at meetings?
I was stunned by the answer. I would not have responded that way if I were him.